All right, guys, so here's the long overdue ownership review of my 2009 GL550. And I think this is a very good car for the money. I think you get a lot of value. I think it is reliable. I think it's well put together. I think it's capable off-road in the snow. And I think this really comes from the golden era of cars in general, which is mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s. And this, of course, was Mercedes' first attempt at the full-size SUV with the GL platform that came out in 2007 and became the GLS and the GLE now. These were built in Alabama, conjunction with Chrysler, along with the ML350s. But they're very solid vehicles. They have a lot of the nice tech, a lot of the nice features of the time, like keyless entry, air suspension, power liftgate, power third row, the headlights turn, it's got paddle shifters, it's got heated and cooled seats in the front, it's got air bladders, adjustable suspension, raise it up, lower it down. Overall, you get a lot of car for your money, and you can get these around the $10,000 to $15,000 range for a nice one. And you'll regularly see them with higher miles because they are very reliable. They have a solid powertrain. That is the gas ones. I wouldn't recommend the diesel ones. They're more finicky and more complicated and not worth it, in my opinion. So I would say get the 450 or the 550 for sure. But the 6-speed transmission and the 5.5 liter naturally aspirated V8 that's in this one is a very, very solid, reliable powertrain. And that's why you see them with higher miles all the time, because they last a long time. They don't have timing chain issues or cylinder deactivation or turbos or anything like that. These are actually a lot more reliable than the next generation that had the 4.4 twin turbo V8. These just last a lot longer because they're under stress. And the interior quality on these is very good. This one hasn't had the easiest life. It was from the north and was a family car with kids, and then it went to college, and now it is in South Florida, so it hasn't had the easiest life, but the interior in this has held up extremely well for the mileage. The only real issue is this tiny little rip in the seat right there. Other than that, it's just stained and a little darkened because of the age. But yeah, the materials they used in here and the fit and finish is really good. No rattles or creaks or anything like that. I don't think you could say the same for an 09 Escalade or GMC Yukon. The interiors are just much higher quality in these than those. And you have reliability too, unlike the L322 Range Rover or an older X5 or something like that, Q7. These are much more reliable than those, and you have all the same capabilities. I also think they look pretty timeless. People think this is worth a lot more and a lot newer than it actually is. So that's kind of a bonus. It's got a trailer hitch. You can tow, I think, up to 7,000 pounds. I towed a boat from Massachusetts to Florida with it this fall, and it did great. I loved having the adjustable suspension so I could tighten everything down on the highway and eliminate some of that body roll, which is really nice. It also lifts up like 3 inches if you're going off-road, going on the beach or in the snow or something. The all-wheel drive system works really well, and you get a ton of ground clearance with the air suspension raised up. The air suspension system. So a lot of people are afraid of these because they have air suspension, and you know, the classic, you come out in your driveway and it's squatted on one side or all bagged out because there's no air in the system. But the thing is, the system is pretty simple in and of itself. It has a compressor and 4 shocks and a little valve block. And the components aren't that expensive. There's aftermarket available, and it's a pretty simple system. And it makes this thing ride incredible for the price. I mean, you're riding on air, basically. I know a lot of cars have air suspension now, but back then that kind of set this car apart. And when it's working, it works very well. It's just a matter of the bags wearing out and they get a hole in them, or the compressor sucks in water and blows itself up. But the air suspension system is really nice to have, and makes it ride like a dream, and it's not too complicated. And that's really the major downfall of this car, is the air suspension system, which, like I said, isn't that bad. And when it's working, it works well. So on this one, I've had to do the serpentine belt, a few pulleys. I had to replace the compressor for the air suspension, air filter, oil changes. I changed the brakes on it myself. Headlights, I actually have another headlight out right now. What else? Tires, that's a major thing. These cars, especially the 550s, really go through tires. I mean, this is my second set of tires in a year, and the Continentals are like $2,000 installed, because it has these wide 295 40/21 tires, and they're expensive. So I just put some Chinese tires on the second go around, and I'm happy with them so far. It was less than half the price installed, so definitely go that route. I like the paddle shifters. That's kind of fun. You can drop it down a gear and punch it. Also, it will, say you're in 4th gear manual and you go to a stoplight, it'll reset you to 1st gear. So you're not pulling off the line and blowing out your transmission because you're in too high of a gear. So that's kind of cool. Auto headlights, cruise control. I really like the shifter. It's just kind of, it's like the old school GM one, but it's just kind of a one-touch park. A lot of cars are using that nowadays. Aircon, I haven't had any issues with it. Heated and cooled seats, adjustable suspension. That's like this hill descent, and something else. I've never used that before. And then that raises it up as well. Push button start, I like a lot of them, and it's just your key just goes in there. A lot of them don't have, they're missing that little thing, which you could probably install. Great sound system. It's got a boost mode too, where you can increase the bass. It's got the illuminated door sills. It's got turn signals in the mirrors. The headlights turn when you go around a corner. I bought this for it. It's a USB and aux combo, so you can charge and play music at the same time. That's been huge. It's basically like installing a USB port in there. It's got the OG screens, and super comfortable back seat. I really love riding in this car, and I like driving it too. If you're looking at buying one of these, I would just say buy it from an individual who has owned it for a little while. You don't want to buy one from like a used car dealer or like the Ghetto or something, where it's had deferred maintenance and a bunch of owners, and etc. You want to buy it from someone who bought it new or has owned it for a while and has used it consistently and has maintained it consistently. Because I mean, once you start deferring maintenance on any car, you know, it's going to be expensive. So yeah, buy one from someone that's maintained it. Look out for air suspension if you get to the car and it's sitting low, or you can hear one of the bags leaking, or it takes forever to raise up when you hit the off-road mode. That can cause problems. It's usually a simple fix, but sometimes not. Also look out for like little weird electrical stuff, because they like to leak like around the sunroof drain or through the tail lights. I have seen on the Facebook group that a lot of them leak through there, and then they have modules under the seats and in the back here, and once they get wet, you start getting weird electrical problems. So look out for that. You'd see like the headliner drooping down, or you'd have lights on the dash or something like that. Also look out for tires. Like I said, the tires are expensive. You don't want to have to put new ones on right away. The brakes are pretty cheap. You can get those at AutoZone. They're nothing special. And that's it. I mean, just make sure the engine runs smooth. They usually do. And yeah, overall, I have really enjoyed my time with this thing. I like driving it every day when I get in. You know, it's a happy experience. I like looking at it too. Like when I walk away from park somewhere, walk away, I look back and I'm like, damn, that thing looks pretty good for the money. So yeah, I mean, I think these are future collectibles too. If you can get a really clean one, these are just like the golden era of cars. You know, they had all the good driving dynamics and features that you want, and robust powertrains, but not all the new like techie features like the modern art interiors and screens and all that. So I think these are a really happy medium between old school car building and new school luxury tech. And I mean, if you found a really clean one of these, this is what I want to do. I want to find a newer one, so like a 2012, just because the newer ones had ambient lighting, like in the dash. I want to find a newer one, like a 2012 in the silver, the 550, with a black interior, just because I think the black interior looks more modern and it hides a lot of the dirt that you see with this tan interior. And then I just want to get a screen that sits off the dash a little bit, like a aftermarket head unit that sits out a little bit. And I think if you did that, you'd have a really good car that would last a long time and for not much money. So yeah, I have really enjoyed my ownership with this thing. I've noticed on Facebook that these ones are more reliable than the new ones, and yeah, they're just a very solid do-it-all car. So I highly recommend these, and yeah, look out for another video and subscribe. Thanks, bye.